for a phone consultation, kind of like a phone chat with one of my homeschooling with secret sauce mamas. And I just got off another phone call and we talked a lot about math. And I had a couple thoughts for you. So if you're a homeschool mom, dad, and you have kids and you're trying to teach math, this is coming from a mom at the end of the homeschool journey. So 5 kids, 25 years later, these are the things that I would encourage you to do. Then there's 3. Okay, number 1, stick to the foundations of math. Oh, you don't need to get all fancy schmancy. You need to focus on the basic fundamentals of mathematics. The basic math facts: add, subtract, multiply, divide, decimals, percentages, fractions, measurements, that kind of stuff. Number 2, realize that there's no such thing as the perfect math curriculum. Oh, don't you wish there was? Instead, take whatever math book that you have and open it to the beginning of the book and find the table of contents. You will find, no matter what grade level of math you're teaching, there are only 12 to 16-ish units or chapters in a math book. Look at the table of contents and ask yourself, do I know how to do this? If so, close the book and teach the concepts to your kids creatively. Use sidewalk chalk, paint, clay, dry erase markers on the windows. Bring that topic to life in a way that your kids can touch and feel. Use the table of contents as your roadmap. If you can't remember how to do something, open up to the unit, open up to the page, and look at the problems and study it yourself, and then close the book and teach to it. If you're learning alongside your kids, then open up to that unit in the math book and work on it together. Choose 5 or 10 problems on the math page and make this deal with your child. Okay, this is magic. Ready? Take note. If you get all 5 or 10 of these correct, you're done with math for today. If you miss even one, then we're going to do a couple more problems to make sure that you and I both know that you understand how to do this concept. So number 1, focus on your foundations. Number 2, use the table of contents as your roadmap. And number 3, please hear this one. Please, especially if your kids are not quite in high school yet, do not rush your child through math. Doesn't matter what grade they're in. Does not matter what grade they are in. Have them work on the math concepts that they need to master right now. Make a book cover and cover the fact that it's a 2nd grade book and your child is technically in 5th. Just hide it. Don't rush. There is almost no need to put your kids in algebra before high school. Don't do it. Focus on the foundations. Make sure that they know all of those facts inside and out before you release them into high school. And here's why, from my perspective. With 5 kids, only one of them is a mathematician. Only one. We learned this lesson the hard way. Our oldest son, we put into algebra in 8th grade. And then so in 9th grade, he did algebra 2, and then he did geometry his sophomore year, and then he did pre-calculus. And then when we moved, he still had to complete another math for that school district that we were in. Well, that forced him to go into calculus, which the problem isn't that he was in calculus. The problem was he's a historian. He loves and breathes history. He spent that entire math year with migraines and stomach aches because of stress from that class. Oh, and we learned our lesson. Even so much so that our mathematician, who's now graduated with his Associates of Science and has completed through Calculus 3 beautifully, when he was younger, he was ready for algebra by 6th grade. But we grabbed him by the back of his collar and we held him back and we said, you are not going to do algebra until you get to high school. and he was ready. So we did baby steps of math. We did all kinds of foundations, all kinds of things like personal finances and budgeting and stuff. When we released him in high school, he went algebra 1, 2, trigonometry, pre-calculus, calculus 1, 2, 3. He went right in. He was ready. All four of the other kids have different passions. There's historians and musicians and artists and such. And so forcing them to go too fast in math can cause unnecessary stress and drama. So that's my math tip, or my math tips for you today. Number one, focus on the foundations. So many kids don't know their basic math facts, and they're trying to do algebra, trigonometry, geometry without knowing what 8 times 7 is. What a disservice that is. So focus on foundations like facts and math vocabulary. Don't water it down. Use words like quotient and addend and minuend, etc. Use the proper vocabulary terms so that when the math outgrows our ability as parents and homeschoolers or teachers, they're not also having to try to learn the vocabulary, because by the time you get into calculus, the calculus teachers are expecting you to know what a product is or what a difference is. Does that make sense? So foundations. Use the table of contents in any math book that you have, because that's your guide. Almost 100% of the time, you're going to know how to do the math, especially if they're younger. And then number 3, don't rush it. Just don't rush it. Keep your kids in arithmetic all the way through elementary school, and then release them to algebra in high school. Their brains will be ready to deal with the fact that letters are replacing numbers, etc. So those are higher thinking, abstract thinking, and you're not holding your kids back as in slowing them down. You're actually giving them a leg up for those higher maths when they're ready. So anyway, I have to run. I have a phone chat, and I will see you soon. And there's goodies for you in the description. See you later. Bye.